come into contact with many young people who are parents. At a time when most people are working out their own lives, their education, attitudes, money, transport, relationships, these young people have to learn to survive with the extra difficulties of learning how to be a parent and what that means and involves, as well as coping with the stigma of being classed as too young to be a parent. These are young men who either felt they needed help or thought their experiences could help in the support of others. We brought them here to Camp Mackay at Kurrajong to get them out of their normal environment, to give them a chance to look at their lives and to explore what it means to be a young father.
What does your child mean to you?
My life. Yeah, basically. It's just about everything to me. Like, she's number one. Don't have anything that means any more than that.
It's like gold to me. Even though I don't get to see him, I think about him all the time. I want to know what he's doing with his life. I mean, how he's going, what his mother's treating him like. That sort of things like that.
It's going to mean responsibility. It's going to give me an extra person to love, care for, tend to its needs. It's going to be a really mad thing because it's part of me, part of my fiance. It's just pretty cool, you know. It means I've got to grow up a lot and be a lot more responsible, take on a role as a father and do the right thing by it.
Child for me would mean son I can look after, son that I can have responsible for and take care of and basically start a family because I'm not a full family myself.
Oh, means a lot of things. Like, I know she's mine, she's very special to me, and I'll never forget it, I guess.
My child's my life. I live for my child, more or less. Yeah.
My child is everything to me. Everything that I hope that my child would be. There's lots of everything from happiness to frustration, to anger, to fear, especially when the child's sick. But yeah, everything that I was when I was a child that I don't remember. I mean, especially when he looks like almost exactly like me.
When she first went back to my mum, I rang her one day and she said something about my daddy, and I said, I'm your daddy. She said, no, you're my old daddy, my new daddy.
It struck me that these young men had never been asked what their child meant to them. Their responses were so heartfelt. It was as if they had no one else to talk to, as if their emotions had previously been hidden away and denied.
What do you think it means to be a good parent or to be a good father?
To be there for him, to give him everything he needs.
To always be there for your child. You've got to do what you believe is right, you know. If you can look at your parents and say, well, or even think back about your parents and say, well, what they did was wrong, and then do it yourself, you know, that's not makings of a good parent, is it? You know, you've got to really do it. You know to be right, what you know to be right for your children. Commit yourself to your children, you know. Like, they are your children, they're 100% reliant on you. They can't do it without you.
I know, like, I never really had, like, a dad when I was growing up, so I wouldn't really know, but I'll give it my best and see if I can, like, be there for my child, like my dad wasn't.
It came out so strongly that they considered the most important thing in being a good parent is to be there for the child. They know what was lacking in their own childhood, and sadly, what many of their own children are missing out on. A good parent is there.
How have you found parenting so far?
Very, very tiring. I don't think I was prepared for it when it happened.
It's when the kid was first born, I thought, well, am I going to be a good father? What am I going to be like?
For basically the first 12 months, I looked after Corey. It was hell. Working at least 7 days a week, most of the time 2 jobs. Then coming home and looking after Corey while Megan had a rest, and then getting up 3 or 4 times a night for at least the first week, and then once a night after that, getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, going to work. It takes a lot out of you. It's a 24-hour-a-day responsibility.
Yeah, for the time that I've been a parent, for like most of the time, it was hard, you know. Like, you have to get the responsibility. You have to go to work. You know, you have to provide for that child. You have to put up with the aggravation but just to see that child smile and, you know, say she loves you, or, you know, makes it all worth it. Yeah, it's an amazing thing to have a child. Really changes a person.
Being a parent's good in some terms, but as I said, most people I walk past look at me and the child and they think, well, he's too young to have a child. Like,
For the first 4 months, which is the only time I got to see him, I found it really easy. But I had to go over to her parents' place and sort of see him every Tuesday and Friday. And I liked that until a certain thing happened. And it sort of broke down from there.
I think it would be great actually if the parents could stay together and have the joy of watching the child grow up, but if it doesn't work out, well, that's the way it's supposed to be.
I've learned a couple of things over the time, and it's just I'd like to see him again and go on from then.
Yeah, I'll just make it a bit even. Now I'll jump on it and fling this back over.
They all find it difficult, a struggle. They find that they were not prepared for what was coming. Society is still grappling with the idea of young men as committed or competent parents. People tend to look down at them, either as being unable or not wanting to do the job. These fellows want to take responsibility, but today the role of being a father is not clear, and they often don't know what to do. They face enormous difficulties: financial problems, finding accommodation, developing parenting skills, holding relationships together, and even accessing their children.
How do you cope with the difficulties of parenting?
Also, I won't go out like most fathers might do. They might go out and have a few drinks, get drunk and then cause a fight, and it's all out of their system. But with me, I'll go out. If I go out anywhere, it'll be to a gym to let off a bit of steam, or do something that's going to let off a bit of steam.
I didn't cope so well. I used to, like, when me and my daughter's mother were together, we used to fight a lot. I'd come home from work and you know, tea wouldn't be ready and my house would be a mess. And then I was expected to look after Crystal as well as, you know, basically you have to prepare tea and all that. I didn't really handle that too well, even though I knew, oh, I'm going to have to do it, aren't I? So like payday would come around and I'd go to the pub and drink 3/4 of my paycheck and then stumble home, get in a fight because I just wasted money. You know, say to her, where'd your money go? That doesn't matter, you drank yours. You know? It's always my fault, or was.
If things become too stressing, you just got to get out of there for 5 minutes, get yourself a drink, try and cool down a bit. It's very hard when the child's stressed and you're stressed and your wife's stressed and everyone's sort of stressed at each other, and you can see it's going to blow up, and you can't say anything positive and you can't say anything negative, because whatever, as soon as you open your mouth, it's just full on. The baby starts crying and the mum starts going off her brain and she starts crying, and it's just, you know, you're ripping your hair out and all this sort of stuff. You cope with it. The situation at the time, you just cope with it as best as you can. Try not to get worked up about it and just sort of deal with it as best as you can at the time.
Well, I don't know yet. I can't judge how it's going to be because different things are going to happen, but I'm going to stand by the child like all parents should. I'm going to teach it the responsibilities and the values that it needs to learn. And I'm just going to basically try and be a good father to it and support it and love it. Love's really the operative word of it all. Just love it and care for it.
Was there any pressures placed on you when you knew that you were expecting a child?
Pressures. I split up with her after 5 or 6 months because basically she blew the crap out of me for no reason, and I just hated it, and I just wanted to get a break. Like, she was on my back all the time. And I was supporting her as much as I could, but it wasn't enough to her, and it just broke down there. And I wanted to go ahead with it, but it just didn't happen.
Only mainly the pressure I put on myself, like to get myself organised and get a stable house. You know, a roof for my child, get a job. Pressure from like the way society looks at you. You know, you're having a child out of wedlock. That's bad. Should be married. So there was like pressure there to get married. Yeah, just basically, you know, I'm far from prepared to have a child. You know, I've got to get myself ready. That's like, you pressure yourself a lot. You know, I'm far from prepared. I suppose you get pressure from parents too, like the parent-in-laws a lot. Yeah.
There was a bit of pressure with that. I had a little bit of pressure from the family, friends, relatives, everyone. They say to me, well, you got this girl pregnant, what are you going to do? You're going to marry her? You're going to take off? What are you going to do? Honestly, my honest opinion at first, when I thought about it, I thought, well, I'm going to be a father. I'm not ready for this. See you later, I'm going. But when I really sat down and thought about it, I thought, well, I'm going to be a parent. I know what I'm going to be doing. I've got a responsibility now. I've got a child coming. I've got to do something. But as I said, it was too late for me to realise that. Like, I had a few difficulties with my ex-girlfriend and stuff like that. And things didn't work out the way I wanted to, but I'm still there. I still stuck by her and I'm still stuck by the kid. But As I said, like, I got a big responsibility, and I think most young parents don't realise how big of a responsibility it is to have a child until they've actually done it.
Well, at the time we were looking at buying a house. We were looking at getting married in the January. Corey came along in October before we got married. There was a lot of pressure, not from her side of the family, but from mine. My parents were turning around and saying they didn't want to be grandparents and that it was a bastard child. And then we also had trying to save up the money for a house, save up money for a wedding, juggling whether we were going to invite my parents to the wedding. And besides all of that, then there was looking at getting clothes for the baby, and there was walking down the street when Megan was showing. You'd have people standing there saying, "Oh, they're too young to have babies," and you've got to try and cope with that. And everyone's saying, "Oh, you'll get over it, you'll get over it, don't worry about it. Everything will be fine." And then you get other people turn around and say, "Well, your life's gone to pot now. That's it. You know, you'll be stuck at home 24 hours a day." And basically everything was negative, except for Megan's parents, and they were just completely supportive the whole way through. You know, we'll help you out with anything we can.
Lawrence, take a step forward. Stop. Go to your left.
There's an attitude around that young men take the option of shooting through. Many young men want to be involved with their children. They are under incredible pressure and struggling, but they're hanging in there, or at least attempting to hang in there. They show incredible commitment with no support.
How do you feel on your child's birthday?
That's sort of a mixed emotion day. Right? That's another year that my child has lived, and I'm happy that, you know, she's alive and healthy, and, you know, thankful for that, but down on myself that it's another year that really I haven't provided life for my child. I'm really down on myself a lot. That doesn't just have to be her birthday for me to feel like that, but it really hits home on her birthdays.
When it was his birthday, I turned around and said, "Okay then." We gave him some money and said, "Let's go shopping," and said he bought this, bought that. I remember one time, it was his birthday actually, and my missus took him down the shop, and he said, "I want to buy this for my dad," and he came home with this big bunch of flowers for $20.
Oh, I can't. Oh, I was so happy. I was over the moon. So, you know, walking around, running around, she was having fun. Yeah.
How did I feel when my child was born? I did not know when he was born. I sort of had a date. I found out that he was born on Friday the 13th, and I was really sick on that day, so I really thought that that was the day he was born. And I sort of had a gut feeling. But I didn't see the birth or anything like that. Yeah, it's just that her mother sent me a letter out and took me to court, and I rang up and found out all about it, why she's doing it and all that, because I wasn't there for him. And that's it.
Oh, well, I've seen 2 of them now. It's a real buzz. Brings back a lot of memories, especially from the birth. In my wife's case, she had an emergency caesarean for something that the doctor should have picked up and didn't pick up. And, I mean, I didn't get to see Corey's birth. I was stuck outside waiting while they're doing an emergency caesarean. The only thing I knew was 30 seconds before they took her in was basically get her in there or she's going to die. And that always comes back. Well, it's come back in the last 2 years. on his birthdays. And it's good to see that he's starting to recognise it too. Last birthday that's just happened, he was over the moon. He calls presents box. And he was just over the moon with everything that was happening. He had all this attention. The only problem was 2 weeks later he still wanted all the attention. And it just wasn't going that way anymore. But yeah, it's a real buzz. It's just, there's nothing like it. I mean, there is. I mean, every day he'll come up with something new or do something new. But to see his eyes light up when he got his new tricycle, it was just amazing. And he's been on it ever since.
I'm still spinning out. I don't know how I feel. It's excellent, you know, but I'm still spinning out.
All too real.
Yeah, it is, I mean, all of a sudden I've got this little girl, it's just mine. And oh no, this is cool. Hey, darling.
The joy and excitement when they're with their child is easy to see.
Mothers in the antenatal clinic.
Some of these young men had limited or no access to their children and couldn't bear to hear the joyful stories of others as they despaired on missing out on those joys themselves.
Yeah, I reckon if you do have a child and you stay with your girlfriend, just make sure you be there, because if you're in there when she's having it, it'll just change your life. Because you just look at it and you fall in love with it straight away.
Yeah.
That's what I've done.
Yeah,
I went in there and I saw what was happening and saw it coming out.
What advice would you give someone who was expecting a child?
Not to have the child too early in their life. And if they did decide to have a child, just be there for it. Like, practically like a marriage in sickness and in health. Better and for worse, you know. So, just really be there like it's your, like if you've got a son, be there like a brother figure and a father figure. Like, play games and stuff. And learn how to, you know, be a dad before you even get to the part of being a dad.
I want to see my child grow up and love it, the way my family didn't, and the way my fiance's family didn't for her. It's just going to be mad, man. It's just to have my child grow up in front of me in my home, you know.
It's alright. 1, 2, 3.
There's an attitude that these young men shouldn't be having kids. The reality is that they are, often planning their children, and they're trying to do a good job. These guys tend to be more active with their children. The distance between them and their own childhood is small, and they tend to join in with their children's play. They're often flexible and more relaxed, full of energy and willing to learn.
They're still going. 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32.
Is there anything more you'd like to add?
No, not really. And just that I had my daughter when I was pretty young. I still am young. And I still love her. It doesn't matter how old you are, you still got love. So, yeah.
Don't have kids unless you're really prepared to have kids, because it makes you grow up, you know. You can't be an adult until you've been a kid, and to have kids takes away that childhood. You've got to become an adult straight away. Don't do it to yourself. Be a kid before you become an adult.
What do you reckon, man? Should everyone have them or what?
I don't know. I don't really know.
What would you do differently if you could do it again?
Oh well, I'm not regretting it now. That's for sure.
That's it.
Yeah, but when you first think about it, you think, oh my God, what have I done and everything. But you get used to the idea, and then when it happens, it's like you just can't get over it.
Yeah. Well, if I had to go back and do it again, it'd all be exactly the same.
Young fathers are good parents, or have the potential to be good parents. They want to be involved and need our support to help make it happen. Behind the bravado of these young men, we found a lot of untapped feelings and unanswered questions. More than anything else, young fathers need us to understand what they are going through. They need acceptance, and they need the opportunity to talk their problems through with others.